And speaking of masks, many of you have been sending us questions wanting to know about the governor's new rules for wearing a mask and then what happens if you don't comply with that. Kristen Severance has some answers in today's Verify.
We've gotten so many questions about the mask requirements, so let's verify some answers. The very first question, in what counties am I required to wear a mask? 7 counties: Clackamas, Hood River, Lincoln, Marion, Multnomah, Polk, and Washington counties. All right, next question, what businesses are included in the governor's order? This is a long list, but this is important. So grocery stores, fitness-related organizations, pharmacies, public transit agencies and providers. Next, personal service providers. So that's barbershops, salons, spas, nail and tanning salons, restaurants. This is also a long list. Bars, breweries, brew pubs, wineries, tasting rooms and distilleries, retail stores, shopping centers and malls, and ride-sharing services. All right, next question. What about businesses in Phase 2 counties? So that's going to include indoor pools, spas, and sport court operators, indoor recreational sports operators, indoor venue operators. All right, next question. Is there ever a time where I'm not required to wear a mask while inside a business? Obviously, eating and drinking. You do not need to wear a mask, nor could you wear a mask while you're eating. Or engaging in a physical activity, so strenuous exercise while you're in a gym, singing or playing an instrument, but you must be 6 feet apart when you're doing those things. All right, next question. Who is exempt from the mask requirements? Answer here: children under 12 and individuals with a medical condition or disability. And then the next question is something a lot of people are asking: what happens if I refuse to wear a mask? Well, businesses can refuse service. So many questions. Another important one I do want to mention: this does not start until Wednesday, so still a few days to read up and really get familiar with the mask rules. You can do that on our website right now. Do you have something you want us to verify? Let us know. Email us at verify@kgw.com.